This is going to be a video about what I want to get out of making videos of myself. So the purpose behind this is I want to have a clear plan of what it is I'm trying to do with this, because to this point it's been a little bit disjointed, it's been a little bit all over the map, and I haven't had like a real through line for what it is I'm trying to do. So what it is I'm trying to do is very simply, and perhaps a little bit arrogantly, I feel that I have interesting thoughts. I feel that I can generate interesting discussions. Most of the time, those discussions are generated with myself in my own head. What I've done recently is begun, or recently, like last year or so, is begun journaling to try to get it out of my own head, at least onto paper, something that I can see in the real world, something that can maybe I can interact with in the future, reference back to whatever it is. Just actually express it, because the greatest thing you can ever think of or do or whatever, if it all happens up here, it's not worthless, but I would say it's worth less than actually being able to express that in a tangible way. So what this will be, or my plan for what this will be, is just a video version of that, just a video journal. And the reason that I would make that publicly available is because I don't think it makes it any worse. I think it holds the same value to me, whether I only see it, whether I'm talking to a camera that's not even recording, whatever it is. But so I don't think it lessens in value in any way if it's something that's just for me, if it's something that doesn't even get recorded, or if it's something that I do record and I do put effort into, making at least a little bit presentable, and then making it so anybody can see it. And the benefit that there is to be gained is maybe somebody could see it. Somebody could hear what I'm saying and want to interact with it in some way. And that's really what I'm trying to get out of this, is a mouthpiece for myself that has a little bit of an echo, I guess. So I get to sit here and talk and express my thoughts and think about whatever, and maybe skew a little philosophically, or skew a little bit like I want to talk about Luigi Mangione shooting a guy in downtown Manhattan, like what that is to say, like a current event sort of thing. So that's what I get out of this, is I get to sit here and I get to talk and I get to take things out of my head and try to force myself to express them, and via expressing them become better at it, right? Have a better system, I guess, to look out into the world, to try to observe, to try to understand, to try to break down and pick apart and try to really grasp beyond a surface level, and then to be able to actually take that understanding that I am going to try to force myself to gain and turn it around and express it to others in a way that's coherent, in a way that's hopefully somewhat entertaining, in a way that brings some information transfer between the two of us. That is the general plan. As for how that will go, I suppose we'll see. It's something that is new. It's something that I wouldn't consider myself perfectly comfortable doing. But really, what is there to lose? So what I'm going to try to do, in the interests of everything that I've talked about here, is I am going to, Monday to Friday, for as long as I feel like this is something that I want to do, for as long as I have the time to be able to do this, is sit down, take something that I want to talk about or discuss or pontificate about, whatever it is, and just roll with it for 1 minute, for 5 minutes, for 10 minutes, for 20 minutes, whatever it happens to be. And just try to force myself to explore it, instead of just, giving it like a little bit of a one-liner in my head, like just, use some idiom to myself to explain whatever the heck it is. Just be like, well, you know how it is. Anyways, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to sit here. It might be, or, well, It's not a might be. It will be at first uncomfortable. It will be awkward. It will not be what I want it to be. But hopefully, over time and with practice and with some measure of directed personal growth, I can get better at what it is I'm trying to do. I can get out of this what I'm trying to get out of this, and I can make this something that's beneficial for me in some way. There is one other thing. There is another thing that I wanted to get out of this that I forgot to talk about. And that is, I guess, a little bit of feedback. Well, feedback's not the right word. The point is, if you are somebody that watches this, or you watch another video I make, or you in some way come across this, and you're like, you know what, I have this thought, I have this idea, and I want to bounce this off somebody, and I want to have a little bit of a dialogue, I want to have it back and forth, I want to know if I'm crazy or not, because that's a thought I sometimes have, and that's something you want, then tell me, and I'll talk about it. So that's the last part of it. This is the last thing I want, is to have a pipeline to be able to contend with thoughts, ideas, conversations that aren't necessarily generated of my own volition or in my own head, but with somebody else, right? Something that I might never have thought to address or might not have thought of in a particular way. That is something that I think richens the experience of everybody involved, right? You have to, in my opinion, bounce around, experiment, evaluate, push the boundaries of what it is that you're comfortable with, thinking about, experiencing, looking at, right? If you are forced to engage with something that's beyond the realm of what you would regularly even see, even conceptualize, I think that makes your own experience better, right? I think to always eat white bread is a little bit sad. So that's the last thing, is anybody that wants to talk about anything, well, almost anything, but has some interesting push that they want to make, I'll hear it out. And beyond that, I have nothing else to say. This is what I'm planning to do. This is what I want out of it. Now it's in a concrete form. And I'll sit down in this chair tomorrow and see how it goes. But until then, and if you're watching this in the future, or I'm watching this in the future, maybe this is an interesting look at the start. Or maybe not. Who knows? But I'm going to try again tomorrow.